Episode 133, 10 social media video hooks to stop the scroll and sell more. Stop making videos people scroll past. We're going to do this in two parts because it's this important. In this part of Mastering Local Marketing, we break down 10 social media video hooks that grab attention fast and help turn views into sales. These are simple, practical ways to open your social media videos stronger, keep people watching, and make your content work harder for your business. If you want better videos without overthinking every post, start here. He's Matt Hansen, digital marketing professor. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
And we are in the WJOB studios in Hammond, Indiana, and right down the street from where Matt has been teaching since before digital marketing actually had a name.
Before time.
Yes. And, it's weird because I'm looking at this. If you want better videos without overthinking every post, just use Riverside.
Yeah.
I mean, because as Semino will attest, if we just, we record everything on Riverside now, and then it's like, all right, here's what we think you should post. Here's your 45 seconds. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that's stupid. And then it's almost every time they get it right, just so you know.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, what we're talking today is about the hook, right? So like that first 3 seconds.
Maybe that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
They're just looking for that, all right, this guy's crying. Let's start there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As the hook. So, let's talk about that hook. What's that mean?
Yeah, so I was sitting down last week and I was talking with this company, and they're doing a lot of meta ads, and they've done TikTok and all these other things. And really, the problem that they say they're having is they're stagnant. And I started looking at some of the ads that they had, and I go, well, where are the hooks? Where's the breakup? And the conversation went down a pretty long path, and we're still having it today. But you got to realize that social media is a passive medium, right? So people don't go on social to buy stuff from you, right? They don't literally go over to Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and go, I'm going to spend $100 today. What they're doing is they're entertaining themselves. And many people will build ads that don't entertain, right? They don't get people to stop the scroll because you have seconds, if that, to get them to stop with the thumb swipe going to the top of their screen. So what we need to do is we need to understand that there's tricks out there. There's these hooks that we call them in the first 3 seconds that will get people to stop, watch your video, and hopefully stick around and hear the pitch that you're trying to do. So think of it in terms of this, right? So we were just, before we jumped on today, we're talking about, what if there was a fire in, downtown Hammond or whatever? People start talking about it. Like, what's going on? What is all that, right? Whereas if you just post something about the city itself, it's not really that exciting. People don't, it's that observation kind of thing that you've got something out of the ordinary. So that's what I wanted to talk about today is kind of those hooks. And there's kind of a playbook that I have that's about 80 different hooks, but I only brought in 10 today that we're going to discuss. But like,
all right, let's start with the first one.
Yeah, sure.
So if you have listened to this, and by the way, if you're anywhere in the marketing world, you want to sell your product from you're the seller or you're in a marketing department, please let us know what you want to hear. All you got to do is get a hold of Matt, and that's in the show notes and all that. But the themes that you have kind of inculcated in me and to the producers here and anybody else that listens is everything's a question.
Yeah,
it's like, I talked to you about, well, what do you say when what is the best thing when you go into a sales meeting and you're trying to get people to place their buys with you, and you're like, all right, what if I could blank? Mm-hmm. And I find myself doing that now. I'm like, all right, listen, what if you could place your ads next to a high school athlete? You're certain that it's going to be positive branding. You got low CPM and better ROI. Would you do it? Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. And I'm like, that's the questions. I'm like, wow, I didn't even think about it in that terms, because everybody wants to get more for their money and make life easier.
Yeah. Well, this stems from this part. The reason I introduced this today is because I was sitting there last night. It's been raining and the grass is starting to grow here in the Chicagoland area, and my mower started leaking oil just out of the blue over the winter, and I had put some stuff down to kind of catch it, and I thought, all right, I'll get into it at some point. So last night I start breaking into it, and I get down to it, and it's a seal that's basically rusted away and all this other stuff, right?
Just so you know, we are in Indiana. All of us in the room know how to break down and take apart a lawnmower and put a new gasket in.
Yeah.
That's probably not something that you could say every part of the world. But yeah, all right. So you break it down. Did you put a new gasket?
I haven't, because, well, long story short, the metal has basically rusted away, which is causing the leak and everything else. So I was sitting there and I was kind of writing, these questions, and I said, well, what if you never had to mow your yard again? And I went, oh, to me, that is the ultimate question, because I hate mowing my yard, which sent me down a path last night. So my neighbor across the street offered to help me this weekend to kind of fix it, because he works on mowers all the time. But I started going down this path, and I thought, okay, well, I can buy a new mower. I can fix the mower that I have. I can hire somebody to do it. So I'm out there measuring the gate.
That's un-American.
I'm measuring the gate.
That's un-American. My grandfather said that.
Yeah.
I had hired someone when he was still alive, and he's like, that's un-American. Get rid of that. So every time the guy comes in and does all the thing in 15 minutes with this crew of 4, I feel very non-patriotic.
Oh, no, it sounds fabulous to me.
Yeah, it is. It's great. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm measuring the gate, and okay, well, if I do call somebody, it's got to be, a deck on the mower that's smaller than this. And then I went down the path of a friend of mine has a robotic mower, so I was asking him questions about that, right? So it goes out and it mows. You can mow it for 11 hours a day. You can just turn it loose and it mows like crazy, right?
Like on golf courses.
Yeah. And just if I was scrolling and if I heard, what if you never had to mow your yard again? Honestly, I mean, I'm in. Like, I'm done mowing the yard. I've had enough. And even my wife has kind of said, well, maybe we should start making some phone calls, just because she sees how I don't want to do it anymore, right? So that one question as I'm scrolling through social would absolutely get me to stop, because I have a pain point that I'm dealing with and I don't want to deal with it anymore. So just asking that simple question will get me enough to stop, take me down that rabbit hole, which is where I went last night. I was on at least 20 different websites looking at reviews and just shopping, even though I wasn't shopping.
Here, I don't know anybody that has a robotic lawnmower.
Oh, they're great.
I've seen them on a golf course, and I always think, man, I hope they don't come this way and come after my $175 golf shoes.
Yeah.
But they are growing in popularity. So let me ask you this. So you're looking at these lawnmowers, and you have gotten the hook, and the hook is something that the small to medium-sized business marketer needs to figure out what's their hook. Now, all of a sudden, you looked at it, and that's great. I know you want some backup statistics on what will make your life easier. Now, are these videos providing that?
They're providing that, right? So again, I was looking at it. Do I have to bury a line if I did a robotic one? No, they work off of satellites at this point. What's the price of a new mower versus, so if I hired somebody to do my lawn, it would be roughly $800, $900 a year to do. Okay, a new lawnmower is going to cost me, $2,000 for a rider, and then these robotic ones are about the same price. And I thought, well, I still have to put the effort into it, right? So just asking this one question, if I saw it on social, is literally going to send me down this path, which is so personal to me that I'm going to go down it, right? So I fully anticipate when I go onto Facebook or Instagram the rest of the week that I'm going to start seeing those types of ads, and those are the people that are going to get the views, because they're going to be hitting with those hooks to get me on there, right? So if I just see another mower picture, I'm not really excited. But if I see the robotic mower or something save time, or maybe it's even a drastic discount, I'm going to pay attention to it because I have a pain point right now. You've asked the right question at the right time. So you got a question, and then maybe they put that graphic up there and say, "Hey, here it is. They've got your attention. All right, here's what you need to compare." The comparison is in the video. It's just graphics up there, and it says, "Here's our robotic lawnmower, $2,000 input, and then no hours. Then here's if you buy a riding mower, $2,000, and then you got to spend all these hours. And then here's if you hire somebody, right? And you don't even put in buying just a cheap lawnmower or whatever." So you've gone with that. You've got the numbers. You got how it works. What do you close with? Well, I think the biggest thing with this question is, what's most valuable to me? Is it money or is it time? And time is always more valuable to me than money because I can always make more money. I can't make more time, right? So if you're asking that question when it comes to minutes, hours, days throughout the year, that question is my radar goes up. You're going to save me hours every summer instead of having to, because we do a lot of different things in the summer, right? So if I've got to stop and spend 2 hours mowing the yard, it drives me insane. I just can't do it. So again, that one simple question has triggered an emotional response to pain points that I'm dealing with. And I know I sound like a prima donna here, like I don't want to mow my yard, but I just don't enjoy doing it. So let's turn that around. Some of the people that are listening to this own small landscaping companies. So they are going against the guy man or woman who wants to mow their own yard. Mm-hmm. They're also going against the robotic mowers. So what would you flip that script about? They just want to get somebody to hire them to take care of you don't have to buy anything. Yeah, so if you've got a service, right, if you're a mowing service, let's say it is going to cost you $800-900 a summer to mow. It sounds like a lot of money, but when you start looking at the robotic mowers, the warranties on them are 2 years. So if you figure that's $1,600 right there, and then you're not guaranteed that it's going to keep going after that. So, do you want the maintenance that's going to go along with that? I mean, they offer a 2-year for a reason, because after 2 years, things start to fall apart, right? It's kind of like when you drive a car and you have a 60,000 mile warranty. At 60,011 miles, my shock went out, right? So it's stuff like that. But there's always a way to pivot. It doesn't matter which part of it you're in, right? Whether you're selling do-it-yourself lawn mowers, the robotic, or you're selling a service. It's the question that you have to answer, or that you have to ask, that is appropriate. So, somebody that's offering a service, do you want to continue to deal with the maintenance of your lawnmower? Is it leaking oil in your garage? Does your garage smell of fuel and oil and all of that? It's the number one thing my wife's always yelling, like, garage stinks like gas again. Well, that's where gas goes, right? It goes to the garage. Fill it up in the driveway, by the way. Don't fill it up in the garage. Yeah. So, all right. So you've got two sides of this. The actual landscape service can, put theirs forward. So what would be their hook? We're talking about that first 3 to 5 seconds that could get you to look at their video. Mm-hmm. What would you suggest? Yeah, tired of dealing with maintenance, or do you want your garage back? Right. Oh, I love that. Do you want your garage back? Yeah. How many times? I mean, I've got mowers and weed whackers and everything else in there that's sitting there, and I always complain. I got a trimmer. Yeah, I'm like, my garage is full of that stuff. A fertilizer spreader. Yeah. I got that. Yeah. Get rid of it all and have your garage back. I mean, that's the angle that I would take if I were service. That's actually pretty good. There's somebody right now that's writing this down. And let's hope. You're going to see that on a Facebook ad. Hey, do you want your garage back? All you got to do is blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's switch. All right, we talked about mowers mostly. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm coming up on, I'm not too far away from retiring. Not retiring, but reaching 65, mm-hmm. right? So I'm starting to see a lot of ads about
financial management, about investment managers, that kind of thing. And they all make me feel bad.
Yeah.
They all make me feel bad
Okay.
because they're all like, don't think Social Security is going to be there, or don't be one of these people that have made this mistake. Come to us and we'll show you not, how to make that mistake. So now I got to listen. Well, what's the mistake, right? So it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable and awkward, and just I'm trying to relax, and then all of a sudden there is this cognitive dissonance because I know that I haven't paid the kind of attention to the minutia of that when I get older. Maybe just in general, I think I've done okay, but the minutia, like everybody else, I don't want to think about it. So there is a two forces coming together. I want to relax, and then, oh man, I do need to think about this, so I will watch this ad. How does the marketer who wants to sell you their financial management, how do they create that?
Yeah, I mean, you just add tension to the problem.
Tension,
right?
that's the word I was thinking of.
So it's it really just comes down to, you mentioned the financial side of it, right? So heading towards 65, can I retire? Do I have enough money? The biggest thing that I always find interesting is I see these posts all the time. Where do you stack up against other people your age? And I honestly, I click it every single time, right? So I'm 49 years old. I'm turning 50 this year. And I'm always like, well, how do I stack up against everyone else when it comes to net worth and, where people are retiring and all those types of things? And unfortunately, like I click it every single time, even though I know where I stand, I know where we are, I know net worth and all that kind of stuff. I know where all my investments are, but it gets me every single time, and I click it. And, honestly, I think most people do. I think they want to know where they stack up against everybody else, whether it's good or bad. I mean, I think you're still getting people over there. So I've talked with a bunch of different financial advisors, friends, family, people that I know, and many times, it starts a conversation. I may not be a customer, but I may know, of the 3-4 people that I've talked to in the last 3 years, when somebody starts to ask me about, oh, well, who do you use for a financial advisor, whether I'm promoting the one that I use or I'm promoting somebody that I've talked to, I think it was 2 days ago I had a conversation with somebody about the very same idea. Like, oh, well, I'm getting towards retirement. I want to make sure I'm in the right space. Or I was talking to my aunt and uncle last week, and they've got a financial advisor, and they've got a significant tax bill that they have to take care of, and they're not happy about it because it should have been seen, right? So it's all of that tension can be wrapped up into a quick 2-3 second, and ask them, like, taxes are coming up. Are you sure you're making the right decisions today? You still got time. I mean, that's the one that I see all the time. You've still got time to fix it before taxes are due. And I click that one every single time because I'm like, all right, well, what else can I do? What else can I, it's an interesting one to me.
So tension.
Yep.
So you mentioned at the top of this episode that you've got 80 in your head that you like to do that, but somehow you narrow down. And I mean, how about the small to medium sized business owner or marketer? And they see a bunch of different ones. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. How do they remember? I mean, what is your method of organizing the different hooks?
The thing that I always ask is, what are the biggest pain points, right? So what are your customers dealing with, and how do we agitate those pain points to make them notice you? And it's got to be quick. It's got to be right up front. And that's what we're talking about hooks today, is the fact that people will build a video and they'll show the product, they'll show, how wonderful everything is, but they're not agitating those pain points. And that's what gets people to stop, right? We want peace in our lives. We don't want to deal with the problems that are coming. But, from a product, from a service standpoint, we provide value in taking those away, right? So we've talked about asking a question, and we've talked about tensions and things like that. But, just agitate the pain point.
So you agitate the pain point, and I'm the same way. I see, wow, that's pretty cool. That's a good idea. I mean, right now, many brands are taking their money away from national or international global platforms and trying to find places to place them locally. And we've benefited from that. So when I see someone in another market or whatever pushing what I do, I'm on it. But then I sit down and I'm like, oh yeah, well, I forgot, what was that one? I forgot. I feel like I should write this down or make a list or categorize this or somehow. And because no one's going to do it, you're in your niche market, and you can go to AI and ask it, and they'll give you some ideas. But once you see them and you have the idea, you gotta make a database, even if it's a Google Doc.
Right. Well, again, it was funny because I was talking with a client this week, and we were talking about GLP-1 users and things like that, and they were getting pushed to target GLP-1 users, and they just weren't comfortable with it. And I couldn't understand where it was all coming from, but then I started looking up their competitors and understanding what their ads were doing, and I went, oh, that's where it's coming from. The competitor had taken that position, and they weren't comfortable going that direction. But they're open to listening about it, right? But there's a lot of things going on in the world that are pushing people in different directions, and whether they're comfortable with it or not, they have to make those decisions. Are they going to go down that path? But it was really interesting to kind of uncover those things. But yeah, you always got to have kind of like a clip file that you do. If you look through my phone, I'm sorry, but my kids aren't the number one thing in my phone photos. I take pictures of ads and I take pictures of things that I want to save. Unfortunately, I think that's kind of a guy thing that we do, but I just yesterday I snapped 3 pictures of ads. I said, okay, I need that. I need to go back to that at some point. So that's an interesting way to do it. A lot of people have a notebook. I had a friend of mine, Tony Fickey, who was a creative director years ago, and anytime he saw a great ad, he would print it and he would put it in this manila folder in his desk, and he'd hold on to it. And he just had to go back and do creative every month because we ran a magazine. So he would go back to that folder and he'd look at it every month and go, all right, is there anything in here I want to bring in? So that's what we're talking about, is like take the hooks that make you stop and go, all right, why did this make me stop? And go from there. But we got a bunch of them to go.
Yeah, we've got, this is the first part. This is episode 133 about video hooks, so that you can either in an ad or a post or whatever it might be, wherever you're going to use it, whether it's a 30-second ad, whether it's a longer video, a how-to video, whatever it is, you got to grab it in that first 3 to 5 seconds. And in this first segment, we kind of introduce it. Now we're going to go into another segment, and Matt is going to, he started to right there, he's going to tell some personal stories of what has worked or not worked for him, and that is where I get the most when I try to get him. Well, tell us about this, tell us about that. So we're going to do that in the next segment on social media video hooks. So I hope you stick around and you go to episode 134. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot to Joe Cimino, our producer, and kind of patience person extraordinaire. All right, until next time, see you later.